Welcome to the Interdimensional Voyagers podcast. And this podcast is going to be about wood knocks and other unexplained sounds of the forest. Okay. Companionship and loyalty, man's best friend, and an excuse to get up and out of the house and into the lovely woods and forests. And sometimes you a party to the supernatural and the strange. So dogs in hand, venturing off into the wilderness, or the local town or city wood. Either way, you're alone in and amongst the trees and bushes, walking along a well-trodden path. Nothing is different. Same crunch on the ground under your boots. Birds, maybe crows, they scatter noisily from tree branches above. Just then all goes quiet. The sound, the usual sound of the forest, cease. It ceases. You can't help but absorb the quiet, all of it around you. Okay, when I've been out in the forest and woods, I've been to a lot of them, looking for cryptid teepees and structures and other bits and bobs as well. There's taking out our two dogs, two terriers. I have come across this where the forest goes completely quiet all of a sudden. For no reason at all. You're just like walking along and then it's almost like subliminal. You kind of, like, you can hear the forest and the birds and the animals and the wind blowing, maybe the branches and the trees rustling, and then as you're going along, kind of like silent, nothing. It all goes quiet. Yeah, quite strange really, because it's not until you drop into that silence that you realise you're in it, if you know what I mean. Anyway, when it does happen, it's quite odd. Okay, half this podcast is because I've written out text to follow, but then I'll elaborate by like kind of free-forming myself. Yeah, so bear with. Okay, then breaking the silence, you hear a knock knock. Then slightly quicker, further knocking. Spinning towards the sound, your dog's ears and tails are upright. They're on alert. They're looking the same direction you're looking. The sound. A thump, a wooden striking sound. No top notes to the sound. Like dull, kind of. Like that of a large branch hitting the side of a tree trunk. It repeats again. Peering into the deeper forest, it's thick with bushes, and together with the concentration of canopy cover, nothing, no person can be seen. But somewhere in there, something or someone is making a sound, the knocking. Then it stops, and you're just left there watching. So this is what, when you do hear this knocking sound, sometimes it's quite faint, but audible. And because everywhere's just gone completely silent, if you can imagine a wood or forest and it's gone completely silent, and in the distance you can hear this faint knocking. Odd, very, very odd. And that's happened quite a few times now, so yeah. So there it was, knocking repeatedly. This is not the first time I'd experienced this, but luckily I have videoed it, so it's turned up on my video, both the audio as well. Now if you want to check that out and other clues to the existence of Dogman and cryptids like Bigfoot, Now this is UK, I'm UK based, okay, but I believe very strongly that we have both creatures in this country as well. There's been too many sightings and I've seen too much evidence as well not to believe. Anyway, check out my YouTube channel, loads of videos on there. It's called Dogman Teepee Hunting. Links will be in the description on the podcast, and it's available for anyone to see and hear. Leave a comment on the channel and let us know what you think. That'd be great. Now, I would be lying if I could tell you what I knew was making the sound. I don't. Okay. Now, if you have experiences like this yourself, or have had experiences like this yourself, then I'll leave my email in the description. You'll be able to contact me through Dogman Teepee Hunting on YouTube as well. That's fine. I am also on TikTok as Teepee Hunting. You can always catch me there. But whatever you do, if you've had experience like this, now that's not to say that I'm going to make your experiences public. Of course I wouldn't, unless you wanted me to. But if you just want to have a chat and discussion about it privately, that's also fine as well. That's not a problem. Okay, sometimes talking about it does help. Yeah, I found it has anyway, because some of the stuff that you see out there, it just beggars belief. It really does. But anyway, the key points of this phenomenon. Number one, usually the knocks happen after a witness passed the area. The knocking, number two, the knocking will be of a 3x2 or 4x1x2. Okay, that's how many knocks in rhythm. Yeah. Now that's only me. Other people it might be different for, but that's usually what I hear. Number three, the knocking has a rhythm, as I just said, a pace to it between knocks and during knocks. Number four, it mostly seems to be produced by a one-handed implement, never a drumming. Okay, number five, no vocalization seems to be heard during wood knocks. That's quite important. The origin of the sound, number six, the origin of the sound is not seen or found. Also quite important. Number seven, last one, it's heard to be some distance but still clear and defined. Okay. Now, I will put at the end of this podcast, I'm going to put actual recordings I've caught on videos, okay? I'll just put the audio up. Once again, let me know in the comments on this podcast what you think. And again, if you've heard anything like it, I'd love to hear and discuss it with you. That'd be so cool. Right, I'd also advise wearing headphones to pick up the sound more clearly. Nevertheless, it is there recorded for all to hear. It's just with headphones, it would be clearer for you. So, the key points I mentioned, let's have a closer look at them. Usually the knocks happen after a witness has passed the area. This regularly happens to most witnesses. It's rarely before up ahead to where you're going that the sound comes from, and it rarely appears, say, in a clearing or close by where you are. The knocks made are from something you have passed, so there seems to be an element of stealth, like it knows you're there. Maybe you've passed and didn't see the creature. Maybe the sound it's making you think it is for your ears. What if that's not the case? The Dogman or Bigfoot you passed, let's just say it is. Yeah, let's just say it is those. One of those two anyway. The Dogman or Bigfoot you passed, the creature knows you're there. It's not making the sound to scare you. but instead it's warning others to be scared of you. Just a possibility I'm putting out there. Okay, the knocking will be either 3 by 2 or 4 by 1 by 2. I have noticed a pattern and rhythm to the knocks. Now remember where this is heard: in forests or woodland, sometimes local town woods. But also I've heard it in forests a 2-mile hike in to some very dense remote places. And still, regardless of location, and I've travelled far and wide across Britain hunting for signs. But when the knocking starts, oddly, it's the same type of sound, same pitch. The sound heard is also a rhythm of knocking. The exact same now. I just find it improbable in all of these different places for it to be identical, sounding identical. I find that quite improbable. Okay. I mean, why would someone make the sound at all? Not then to take credit for the effort of hiking out into these places, to lay in wait, to then make the knocking sound. And I've heard it 300 miles away in the deepest of woods, and I've also heard it down the street in local town wood. So, don't know, there's someone out there kind of pre-stalking and grabbing a branch and all that. I know what, here it comes to the dogs again. I know what I'll do. I'm going to bang that trunk in the same manner as I banged it in that forest 300 miles away. I don't think so. But anyway, could be. So far as the start stops of knocking, could it also be a type of binary code, a Morse code? No vocalization seems to be heard during wood knocks. This again I don't understand. If it's a warning sound, like keep away, for example, then most animals, including apes, are heard vocally as well as knocking. So why no other sound, including footfalls or rustling or steps, maybe the sound of running after? The woods and forests are a difficult place to negotiate quietly. For anyone who has ventured into them will know it's very difficult not to break a twig or rustle leaves with every movement. A movement in that terrain is heard regardless. The origin of the sound is not seen or found. Peculiar to this wood knocking manifestation is the orientation of the sound. It's damned hard to pinpoint the source, even to the most seasoned tracker or hunter. Know if a squirrel shuttles across the ground or a dog barks ahead of you in the distance. The general direction of the sound can be determined by a tilt of the head. As humans, we are adept at spotting prey very quickly, but predominantly prey in motion. From a great distance we can see amongst the standing tree trunks. Any small movement is instantly picked up by our eyes and tracked, but whatever makes the knocking sound has shown no obvious movement. I find this extremely odd. Sound is carried. It reverberates around. It can be disorientating, bouncing around trees, absorption rates due to the type of ground cover, the landscape. Are the sounds being confused with sounds of natural or normal sounds to be found in the woods or forests, where witnesses, as myself, have heard this knocking? Could I, as other witnesses, have misheard the sounds of somebody with an axe chopping wood, for instance? Or could it be deer? They do use tree trunks to scratch, and stags lock antlers while playing or rutting. Then next we have in UK woods woodpeckers. Also we are left with people playing pranks. I'm not going to go over that again. This last possibility, as I previously discounted, is just practically and logically nonsensical. So could it be axe strikes? I would say no. Again, if it was a person chopping wood, why can't their presence be tracked down? If they have chopped wood, it would be close to camp, but no camp is ever seen. Also, no other sounds noticed. Again, unusual, no talking, no laughing, walking, no radios, nothing, no sounds closely associated with bushcraft and people in general. As a note, the sound of axe chopping is not close to the sound heard by the knocking. Deer, now male stags in particular, the sound, it's close but not the same. Another important and clear reason I will be saying no to this being the instigation of the sound heard. It's the way the knocks rap. As I mentioned earlier, it would be impossible for a stag to mimic the sound with the required beat heard. It's also repeating the heard repeatable, so it wouldn't be a repeatable sound for the animals. Don't repeat the same sound as a rhythm, if you like. Woodpeckers, right, okay, I'll just say no to the sound. No to it practically mimicking that sound. The woodpecker it sounds totally different. So on reflection, where does this lead me? This strange forest anomaly heard, well, it's certainly a phenomenon. It's not invented, and as it's been documented many times, a plethora of recordings have been captured. Most can be heard by searching the internet or on YouTube search. A sample of my own recordings will be played soon, so keep listening or go to my links in the description as I mentioned. So the sound of knocks are present and nearly always sound the same, no matter where the capture is from. It was worldwide: Asia, America, Canada, and of course here in the UK. Sound the same. Then same patterns, beats, exactly the same but in different locations and countries. So the big one, what is it? Realistically, it's a hell of a suggestion, but suggestion it is still. And I'm sure we have in the UK Bigfoot creatures as well as the more elusive and arguably more terrifying Dogman cryptid. After witnessing these knocks multiple times, I can't prove it, I can't disprove it. All I can do is dance in the shadow of the forest till the drummer shows his hand, as it were. I have taken video. I have had subscribers and non-subscribers who've commented, left timestamps on a lot of my videos that have captured cryptids, which people have seen. They can be made out, very strange things. Orbs as well. I do believe that orbs and these cryptids go hand in hand, and I've documented that on video as well. As I say, check it out. It's Dogman Teepee Hunting on YouTube, and see what you think. So it does, I believe the knocking sounds and the evasive way they are heard, from the point of view, you can't pinpoint it, but they are the same wherever you are, if you know what I mean. And the silence as well. Just before you hear the knocking sound, the forest and woods just go completely silent, like a blanket of silence covers, and then you hear the sound. Very odd. Okay, leave a comment, see what you think of the recording, check out the YouTube channel, let me know, and as I say, I will do a part 2 because there is other sounds that I've heard in the forest. These ones happen mostly at night, in the very early hours of the morning, usually about, and the devil's hour, about 3 o'clock, and 3 a.m. in the morning. Very strange sounds, like metallic sounds, chimes, doors closing. So I'll do a part 2 to that one. Okay. So yeah. This has been the Interdimensional Voyagers podcast. Please like and share and follow and leave us a comment. And as I say, if you've had an experience you'd like to share, either on air or off in private, that is all fine. You'll find my email address in the description. YouTube channel, we know, Dogman Teepee Hunting. And what follows now is a short examples of unexplained knocks I've encountered. And I thank you for listening. Try and get a shot of that one. Okay, just heard wood knocking. Not sure if the microphone picked that up or not. Wood knocking coming from over there. But knock, 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 knock. Did you hear that? Like a wood knock. A hollow wood knock.